Village of Greenhills Council meeting to order for November 26, 2024. Acting clerk, call the roll. We have a
Jeff
sick
Alter.
clerk.
Here. Me, here. Jack Lee.
Here.
Rachel Hudson. Here. Jim Borner.
Here.
Maria Walther. Here. Dave Moore.
Here.
Okay, all here.
Okay, we have a prayer by Maria Walther.
Heavenly Father, we thank you all for everything you have done for all of us during this year. We thank you for your guidance and for the trials that you have given us to make us strong. We ask that you give us peace around the world and strengthen our nation, protect our servicemen and women and their families, and guide our world leaders to be with the American families, the American people, and to our leaders that we will glorify your name in all that we do. In your holy name we pray, amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we've got the minutes of previous council meeting of October 22nd and the work session of November 12th. If there are no changes or corrections, minutes stand approved.
I just finished one.
Okay, no proclamations and public presentation from Jennifer Weichert from the Public Library.
Hello. Good to
Hey.
see you all again. Got cold out there. But the library is nice and cozy and warm, so we are a great place to stop in for all of those books, movies, music, and more that we can provide that lets you enjoy the dark and cold. We also do offer faxing. It's free faxing and free scanning to email. And we also do offer free printing up to $5 worth. So that's 33 black and white pages or 20 color in case anybody needs their Christmas card list printed out or anything else that might be coming down the pipe. We can even do printing from tablets or other mobile phones, other mobile devices. We have an email that you email them to, and then we can help you get them off of our copier if you need them. We also partner with Hamilton County Jobs and Family Services to offer free emailing and faxing to them for any forms that might be needed. So anybody who is needing any of those services, you can stop into any library location and get forms, have them sent down, get a confirmation letter. We've also been seeing a large increase of benefits that have been stolen. So if anybody is in that situation, we do have the form from JFS that we can help with and make sure that that gets sent down as quickly as possible. We are also looking forward to Light Up Greenhills. I'm sure you all are as well. The library will have our table with our button maker, and this is this year's snowman template that I brought to show everybody, but stop in for this year's commemorative button. We will also be doing a bunch of animal programs at the library. We're going to have Dino Buddies bring reptiles on Saturdays, December 7th at 2 p.m. And the zoo will bring a penguin on Saturday, December 21st at 2 p.m. If you're interested in the penguin one, there is limited space in it to control so we don't overwhelm everybody. So if you're interested, please go online to our website or give us a call and we'll be happy to help you register. And that is, of course, all of those are for all ages. We do also have story times that continue on Mondays at 10:30 a.m. And we are going to have a mindfulness program on Wednesday, December 4th at 6:30 p.m. with The Well. And this is just a chance to take a break from a very busy season that can be very stressful and just learn a few techniques to kind of ground and take a moment to recenter where you are. We're also going to, kids can make a Grinch ornament on Tuesday, December 3rd at 4:30 p.m. And they can build Lego on Tuesday, December 10th at 4:30 p.m. And teens can make a sock snowman on Wednesday, December 18th at 4 p.m. So we have lots going on at the library. We are open a lot of the time. There are a few days that we will be closed. Tuesday, December 24th and Wednesday, December 25th. And then we will close at 5 p.m. on Tuesday, December 31st. Normally we would be open till 8, but for the holiday. And then the next day on Tuesday, January 1st, we are closed. However, we do have all of our digital resources available 24/7. If you've never used Outlook, Libby from Overdrive. I was filling in Outlook for a moment and I knew that wasn't correct. But we have a lot of digital resources. So Canopy is our streaming service. You can listen to music. You can also download books or magazines. So there's a lot that can happen. Even if we are not physically in the library, there's still a lot of materials that you can get. And if you're curious about how to get started with any of it, stop in when we are open and we'll be happy to get you loaded up and ready to go. That's kind of what we have.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Alrighty,
Jennifer.
thanks.
Thank you.
And Tony's late, so unless he wants you to report, we can squeeze him maybe after. So we'll squeeze him in after my report, possibly, if he gets here by then. Okay, reports of, no public hearings, reports of municipal officials. Yvonne Kovac.
Thank you, Mayor. Excuse me. Okay, we have another number of items on the agenda tonight. The first one is supplemental appropriations and transfers. This may or may not be the last of the year, just depending on what happens in the next couple of weeks, but there is funding going, excuse me, from general fund into the police fund, and if you want any additional information on that, Deb is here with us tonight, but I believe that's to prepare for the beginning of the year. It takes a while to get the tax advances, so we want to be sure to have money in that account. That's what's going on with that one. The next one, number 31, is also an annual resolution that we do. We are continuing with Anthem. Our consultant did go out to bid for us, as they do every year, and Anthem is by far the best at 3.1. Then they went up into the like 55%, 60%, 90%, so we're lucky to be where we are, and we'll continue with that for at least another year. The next one, number 32, is the first of two different tax mill rates that council wants to consider for the police, potential police levy in May. One is at 3.9. If you skip down a couple to number 34, that is a replacement of an existing levy that was passed in 2010 at a new mill rate of 4.9. So it's the same, I hope I say this right, it's the same levy, just processed at the current overall valuation for the village. So it'll be interesting to see where that one comes back. Both of these are just to send it down to the county so they can certify those dollar amounts back to us for your information. Now 33, right in the middle there, this is after we've been with our current electric aggregation supplier for 2 years. We went with a short term because if you remember, rates were rather high. They're still rather high. Our current rate is like 8.1. The new one is like 8.09. So it's so close. It hasn't really fluctuated, but because of that, we're going to do just a 14-month term, which will give us the opportunity to first be part of a bigger pool of communities that are looking for best rates. And there is, at this point, the appearance that the rates will improve within that time frame, so that gives us the opportunity to take advantage of that, if that is indeed the case. But this new rate will go into effect in March of 2025. Let's see, and then the final one is a surplus property. We'll be having a police cruiser. It's a Chevy Caprice that will no longer be in service, that we will want to put out for public auction. I also want to mention a couple of these. I actually assigned them to the wrong committee. Number 3 and 5, I guess, should have been Lee in finance, and then same with 6. I didn't put a name on that one at all. So my apologies for that. Now, a couple of other things I do want to mention to you. I know this will come as a surprise to everybody, but we have finally heard on our CDBG money. Yeah, can you believe it? And we got it. We got our 50,000, and we have through next December to spend it. I can tell you in the next month or two, I'll have the engineer finalize the specifications so we can go out to bid and get that baby under construction as soon as possible. So really thrilled about that. That was a long time coming. But happy to have gotten that notice. And then I did want to let you know, if you remember the emergency work that we had to do under the deck of the pool in the garage area, that is going very well. And I think they have maybe 3 more beams that need to go in. It looks quite different down there right now, much cleaner, fresher, and the nice shiny beams look really sturdy. So that's one of those infrastructure things most people never see, but it's there now, much safer, and certainly a long life for those beams. So that's a good thing for that, for the village to have that in place. And I think, yeah, you know, there was another bizarre thing that I wanted to mention to you that occurred last week. We had 10 days notice that our fuel contractor was going to pull out. And actually now I'm learning that there were a lot of communities impacted by this that received their money. Used to be called Lichens. More recently, it wasn't World Connect. They had changed their name.
It was Lichens, then it changed to World Fuel.
World Fuel, that's it, yeah. Anyway, they pulled out on everybody with just 10 days' notice. We made calls, and I believe for a number of months, we're going to use the county bid. Is it? So anyway, just one of those interesting things you don't expect to have just randomly come up. But that's it for now, yes.
On the number 33, whenever that change occurs, the people that already are accepting the village electricity and whatever, it's automatic, the change.
Correct.
We don't have to do anything
That's right.
at all. Okay, it just goes over, and the bill still be deducted then?
Yes.
Okay.
Always,
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, all right.
One thing I mentioned to Yvonne with lichens changing, I don't know how many people are still on oil heat in Greenhills, but I know there's a number of them. And a lot of them were using lichens. So I don't know if they're going to be impacted by this or not.
Okay.
I haven't heard anything from anybody yet.
Yeah, we haven't either, actually.
Okay, all right. The law director has had an emergency. The clerk of council is ill. But we have our police chief here, Jim
I'm here.
Howarth.
Thank you, Mayor. I have a few things I'd like to discuss. I don't know how many, I know the board's aware, but I don't know how much of the public's aware that we're CLIA certified, which is the Commission on Accreditation for Law Enforcement. They're considered the gold standard throughout the nation. We have been for quite a few years, but every 4 years we come up for recertification. So every year they review our policies and practices, and all that's done online through a portal that we have through CLIA and so forth. In 2025 in March is our reaccreditation, so for recertification. So that's underway right now, where an assessor actually prior to this comes on site, be on site from the 9th to the 11th of December. Be here, just making sure we're doing the policies and practices, ride with the officers, go through the property room, all kinds of audits type things. So it's a very intense process, but one that we're up for the challenge. And I mentioned CLIA because less than 1% of all law enforcement agents in the nation and agencies in the nation are actually CLIA certified. So about 838 approximately out of 18,000 law enforcement agencies actually reach this accreditation. So there's just about 60, a little more than 60, 63 in the state of Ohio out of 800 agencies. So it is a credit to the department and what we're doing with policies and procedures. And it takes a whole group effort to make this happen. Every officer has their hand in it. Lieutenant Ward is the accreditation manager and stays up with everything throughout the year and is working endlessly now for the recertification. The on-site coming up here December 9th through the 11th, and then in March, hopefully the recertification from the commission. So Just wanted to mention that. If anybody has any questions about it, they can feel free to reach out to me in the PD. Yes, ma'am.
In the past, they have had an open meeting for people to come and comment. Are they going to do that?
No, they stopped
They
that.
stopped that?
We'll go back to the COVID world.
The COVID, yeah.
COVID world, they
Yeah.
stopped the in-person.
So they never
But they do, what they do is they do like public input. I put it in the newsletter. It's in the newsletter. There's a link and there's a portal that takes you straight to the commission.
Okay,
So you can click on that link. If you don't get the newsletter, you don't have the newsletter with that link, it's actually on our website also. So that's a way, and they do like public feedback. And I know quite a few people already, because I get the responses, so I see them
Okay.
also. Or I can log in and look at them. So, very good question, I appreciate it. And for those that have gone on to the portal and commented, we appreciate everybody's input. I kind of mentioned last month, but updated fleet with the purchase of the 3 used police cars in lieu of spending, I put that in the newsletter, in lieu of spending over $55,000 just to purchase 1 brand new car and outfit it. We were able to get 3 2020 Ford Explorers in really good shape, already fully equipped for $39,000, which is a lot less than the 1 brand new one would have cost us. And we needed to replace 3 as 2 of them are approaching over 100,000 miles. And just brought 1 back from the shop today. Getting very costly on repairing those. So those will probably not be, you will not physically see them on the road until sometime in probably late January, to be honest with you. By the time we'll take possession of them about the 10th of December. But then we got the graphics to do and take some equipment out of the existing cars and put them in them. So you'll see those out there. Don't want to, Jennifer mentioned the cookies, well, I'll mention with Light Up Greenhills, we'll be out there with Cookies with a Cop. Just ordered 400 Buskin tree cookies, so come hungry. If you don't have dinner that night, you can get a couple. So we look forward to seeing everybody out there at Greenhills. Hopefully the weather is just a little bit nicer than it was last year. Light Up Greenhills. We had a self-defense class not too long for residents, citizen self-defense class on 16th of November, a couple Saturdays ago. I know a couple people actually in here were in there, so appreciate you coming. Hopefully you got something out of it. Sergeant Holbrook does a great job with it. And I'd also like to encourage anybody, if they have a group, that they want to put together, you will hold that with that group. Or if we get enough citizens that show interest, we'll hold another one. We'll hold as many as you want to. It's right up here, put the mats out, and he does a really good personal self-defense class. Appreciate him doing that. If you are interested or have a group of people that you'd like to get together and set something up, you can reach out to him by email, or you can call up here at the station at 825-2101. Sergeant Holbrook works second shift, so you can reach out to him and talk to him. We'll be glad to get something scheduled. As far as the month of October crime reports, we had 6,868 incidents that we responded to. 26 of them were company life squad runs. Numerous parking complaints, trouble runs, suspicious people. We did have 5 domestic incidents that we responded to. Out of those, two of the 5 resulted in arrest of domestic violence. Mutual aid we provided to Springfield Township and Forest Park on 16 different incidences. We issued 73 traffic citations. We also issued 77 traffic warnings. We took 10 criminal offense reports. 2 of those, as I mentioned, were domestic violence. We took 10 criminal offense reports, made 70 arrests out of the 10 reports. 2 of them were the domestic violence cases that I mentioned. We arrested 1 for carrying a concealed weapon, 1 for disorderly conduct, 1 for forgery. Actually signed a warrant on the individual, still out there. 1 for a drug offense and 1 theft. So that's all I have, Mayor, unless anybody has any questions.
Anybody have a question?
I like the you changing graphics a little bit, that they're easier to read.
Okay, good.
Show year to year. I like that. So.
I appreciate it. We've gotten a lot of positive feedback when I look at them. They're reflective, and they light up a lot more at nighttime when the headlights hit them and everything else.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure people know it's strictly new graphics, same cars, just took the wraps off and put those on. And the new ones we're getting will be that way. And I will say the new cars we're getting are more of a charcoal gray, so there is a little bit of difference. But instead of making them gray like the other two, we're making them black and that cost and everything else. They'll blend in just fine, and the graphics will look really good on them too. So we look forward to that.
Okay, thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
All right, my report, have a Mayor's Court ending bank balance of $30,723.69. Checks to be issued to the state of Ohio, $1,722.50. Hamilton County, $64.50. And the Village of Greenhills, $6,233. And then the only other thing I have is council members can be thinking about doing Christmas tree light judging. And so I'll give you some time to think about it, and then when we do scheduling, we'll try to pick a date. All right, that's all I have. Tony hasn't made it, so his next chance will be after the committee report. Okay. Intergovernmental Affairs, Laws and Rules, Maria Walther.
We canceled the meeting for lack of agenda, and also the one in finance, and I think we're going to have another chance to do it in December the 4th at 3:30. So if we have something else to discuss, we can put it in there.
Okay, all right. Community Development, Jim Boner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We met last Thursday and discussed a little bit further about plans for applying for a small grant for America 250 celebration, so we're just still working through that.
Okay. Service and Streets, Melanie Hermes.
We ended up not meeting for lack of agenda. We'll see if we need to meet before the end of the year.
Finance and Audit, Jack Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. First, we will be having a finance report to discuss appropriations for the coming year on the 4th at 3:30. Council, at your places tonight is the October General Fund recap. And you'll notice, right away at the top, the income tax for October is showing a pretty big negative chunk, and we've been anticipating that overall reduction with the school moving out of the village. But there, at least for the real estate tax, there's an increase there. But overall, we're holding our own in the general fund balance for the year. At the end of October, the general fund balance was $2,945,732.92. The staff has been very prudent in their expenses and spending. Percentage of appropriations for the year, we've only spent 43.92% of the appropriations. So watching the bottom line, and although we did have some transfers last month, and we'll have a couple more tonight later on. Unless there's a question, that's the end of my report.
All right. Recreation Cable Television, Rachel Hudson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Not too much. We're tentatively scheduled for another meeting on December 17th. And for anyone who's not aware, Kirk left this month on the 12th and started a new position as, I believe, the executive director in Fairborn. So disappointed to see him leave, yeah. So Dana's going to be resuming his duties in addition to her own, and I believe that's it. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Well, he was doing a good job.
Yeah.
Okay, Safety, Jeff Halter.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The Safety Committee did meet on Tuesday, November 19th. We had a pretty full discussion about a number of things. One was just general emergency preparedness of the village. Since I'm relatively new to the committee, just trying to understand what's in place. Vaughn gave a good summary of what we have currently. There's a very detailed emergency prepared system in place or process in place. Yvonne agreed to update, make sure all the phone numbers and everything are still current. One thing I thought was interesting is Mayor Moore was in North Carolina during the recent emergency that they had, and it found out that a couple things. One, and correct me on any of this if it seems like it's off. Simple radios were the only way to receive information often. So it might be a good idea for residents to, even though it's kind of old school, to have a simple radio available. If other communication goes out, that's one way to get some information. And since Wi-Fi was out and certain things were out, the stores, ATMs did not dispense cash, yet the convenience stores were only accepting cash. So it probably isn't a bad idea to have some cash on hand, as much as it seems very archaic, but in case an emergency does come about. We discussed also, we talked about the value of backup generators. We now have one for this building. I know that the fire department has one that is ready to be replaced, but that kind of thing in an emergency situation is crucial. Other things that we talked about was possibly having a warning sent out to a dog offender. So if there was an incident with a dog, that it might make sense to notify those that live around that individual in the surrounding areas that there is, an offense on a dog. My understanding is it used to be, I don't know if it seems like they're giving more and more opportunities. So if there's an offense, unless it's really overt, that dog still can stay in place. And I just thought there might be some value in letting people know, and because it's one of those things, unless something happens a couple of times at least, the dog will still be in the area. And I know if I had little kids and or even walking other pets around, I would like to know if there's something to be on guard about. Other part is that we did start to talk about, and I'm sure we'll get more detail, and it's a good follow-up to this from Tony, our chief. Fire department levy, Tony talked about and discussed the necessary changes to take place to transition from a 501c4 to a 501c3, if I've got that correct. And there's hiring decisions, payroll set up, firehouse changes that must occur for the department to move to this new expanded role, which I'm sure that he'll give you more detail on. But if you do have other safety concerns, please reach out to me and let us know, and we will see what we can do about those. Any questions? Thank you.
Okay, and I see Tony's here now, so do you have anything you wanted to say? Yeah. Sure. Okay.
Sorry, I was late. We had a late run, and I got off work a little late. So, really nothing new to report, based on what I reported to you guys during the work session a couple weeks ago. But now that we're televised, again, just want to make 2 points. First of all, we just completed the turkey raffle, and we had a really good year. We are down a little bit, but that was kind of a planned thing. 2 reasons. We couldn't do the turkey raffle and campaign for the levy at the same time. So November 6th, we changed gears immediately and started the turkey raffle. So, and in order to be sensitive to everything that's been going on, we lowered ticket prices. So that said, we had a really good raffle. A whole lot of people just worked their tails off to make that happen. So thanks to all the residents that support us during that raffle and that have been supportive of the changes that we've had to make over the last few years. So we appreciate that, and we had a whole lot of winners that have been announced on Facebook and so on and so forth. So that's a huge labor for the department to pull that event off. So just wanted to thank everybody for the support there. And then, of course, from the levy standpoint, better than 2/3, 2 out of every 3 voters voted yes for the levy. So that's a huge vote of confidence for us. Makes us feel good about the work that we're doing and the work that we're going to continue to do and expand upon that. So, Jeff, you hit it on the head there. We've been a volunteer department for 86 years, and that's how our operation is built. So we have policies to change. We have a whole lot of work to do in order to convert to that system. And so the leadership team of the fire department's been working on that already. I've had a number of conversations, with Yvonne, and so between the safety committee and village administration and then our leadership team, we're pretty excited. We got a whole lot of work to do, but in the end, I think it's going to be well worth it. So thank you to all of you for your support, and thank you to all the residents that voted yes for the levy. And I assure you that the value of what we provide is going to far exceed the money that you're spending. So if anybody has any questions or comments for me, I'll gladly entertain those.
Chief, if you please kind of approach here to me. I have something for you. I was told that you were given a check from the auxiliary on Veterans Day, and here I have for you a check of $500 from the Sons of the American Legion and a check for $4,000 from the American Legion. And a letter here for you.
Thank you.
This is a Hugh Watson post, just
excellent.
neighbors from here.
Wow.
Good.
That's great.
Okay.
Yeah, we really appreciate that, and, that's a whole lot of money, and so, it really means more from where it came from than the amount.
Absolutely,
And so
absolutely.
we're humbled, and we thank you. We just ordered $33,000 worth of new radios that are going to go out of service in July. They're over 30 years old, so this is going to go directly towards that, I can assure you that. So thank you, Maria, and thank you to the Legion, and thank you to everybody.
And if anybody else out in the viewing audience would like to donate, I'll pay for those radios. I'm sure it'd be appreciated. All right, this is the time for citizens to comment on legislation listed on the agenda for this session of council. When recognized, please come forward to the podium, complete the sign-in sheet, and verbally indicate if you're a resident of Greenhills or non-resident, and state your comments. Comments will be limited to 4 minutes.
There's not a sign in here.
I don't know where she keeps it.
That's all right.
I didn't think of that, quite frankly.
Yeah.
We'll make a note.
Good evening. Just want to make sure I understand. You're limiting any comments now to only what is on the second page, the resolutions, is that?
There's 2 times for residents to speak. This is.
No, it says regarding legislation.
Right.
Is that what you're referring to?
For right now,
For
it
the
is.
legislation.
That's,
It's on
okay,
the
that's, I
agenda.
just wanted to get clear on that. Well, my name is Pat Ann Vaughn, and I am the district chair for the Democratic Party of Greenhills. And I plan on being here to all your meetings and making sure that we kind of touch base on some things that seem to be important. One question I have regarding this new business on resolution number 4, it's the executed an agreement with Dynergy as the electric supplier for Greenhills aggregation program, and Hermes brought that up. But there's no reference as to what the rates are. What rates is it that you're using? That's kind of vague not to mention what rates you're adopting.
As the resolution states, it's a period of 14 months, beginning March 2025, with a fixed rate to be set at approximately 8.1 cents per kilowatt hour.
It doesn't say that on here.
It's on the resolution packet. It's in the verbiage of the resolution, which is in the packet.
So that's in the back of this?
Yes,
it's
it
on
is
the-
in
on
the
the
packet,
full
yes.
resolution.
Okay,
Solution.
I'm sorry, but I just felt like if you're going to be passing something, it would be nice to mention what the rate is. And then people can actually go to apples and apples and make comparison. I personally never participate in the aggregation because I feel that it's not necessarily always in the best interest of the public. Then the other thing that I wanted to mention, which I guess it's kind of tied in with your 4.9 mil police levy, is that when these levy things were passed out, there were numerous violations of the federal postal regulations that I noted. Door to door, I saw David Moore and Yvonne passing them out, and I didn't see any violations on the streets where you were working, but throughout the historic district, these things were placed inside mailboxes, and that is a federal violation of the mail code. So I would hope that any future efforts to put door hangers out, that it's fairly simple to put them on a doorknob or on a screen door. So we don't want to be racking up any kind of violations with the federal government. So that's my comments on what you've limited to here. I do have a question about recreation. Is there any such thing as recreation in Greenhills anymore?
Oh, sorry.
It's not on, this is only to be discussing the
Right,
items.
I'll ask that
You
later.
can get that later.
But that was one of the complaints citizens had, is there doesn't seem to be any recreation anymore.
Okay, anybody else? All right, moving forward, no unfinished business, new business. First, resolution number 2024-R30-F, making supplemental appropriations and transfers. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2024-R30-F, resolution making supplemental appropriations and transfers. Whereas the 2024 annual appropriations were adopted on December 12th, 2023, are to be amended. And whereas appropriations must not exceed the total available resources of the village per Ohio Revised Code 5705.36A5, therefore an amended certificate of estimated resources has been requested from the County Budget Commission. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, Ohio, Section 1, since certain actions are needed in the monies appropriated so to permit the Village of Greenhills to meet its fiscal obligations for the year 2024, the following items of expenditures are to be supplement the appropriations for the expenditure for the year 2024. Fund description. General fund, account number 1,000, original appropriation $500,000. Change is an additional $200,000 for a new total of $700,000. Police fund, account number 2901, original appropriation is $1,111,000. The change is $200,000 addition with a new total of $1,311,000. Section 2, that the following transfer of funds be made from the previous appropriated monies. From the general fund, account 1,000, to the police fund, 2901, in the amount of $200,000. Section 3, that this resolution shall take effect and be in full force from and after the earliest date allowed by law. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded. Any comments? All right. Clerk poll the council.
Halter,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Warner,
Aye.
Walther,
Aye.
Hudson,
Aye.
Hermes. Aye.
Okay, resolution number 2024-R30-F passes. Next resolution number 2024-R31-F, authorizing the municipal manager to enter into an agreement with Anthem for providing health insurance coverage for employees of the Village of Greenhills. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2024 R31SF, authorizing the municipal manager to enter into an agreement with Anthem for providing health insurance coverage for the employees of the Village of Greenhills. Whereas the Village of Greenhills provides health insurance benefits for eligible employees, and whereas the village has utilized HUB, previously known as Haran Associates, to request and review proposals for health insurance coverage from various carriers and determine that the proposal submitted by Anthem is the best proposal for the village in terms of quality, service, and adaptability, and reflects a continuation of current plans. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the Village, Greenhills, Ohio, Section 1, that the municipal manager is hereby authorized to enter into an agreement with Anthem for the purpose of providing health insurance for eligible employees for the term January 1, 2025 through December 31st, 2025. Section 2, that the village will offer one PPO plan, option 57, from Anthem. The village will continue with the 80% employer, 20% employee premium split. Section 3, that the finance director is hereby authorized to pay Anthem monthly premiums totaling an annual amount of approximately $231,510, said amount fluctuating depending upon the number of persons enrolled in the plan. Section 4, that this resolution shall be effective and immediately upon its adoption. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? Clerk, poll the council.
Lee?
Aye.
Walther?
Aye.
Halter?
Aye.
Warner?
Aye.
Hudson?
Aye.
Hermes? Aye.
All right, resolution number 2024-R31-F passes. Next resolution, number 2024-R32-F, requesting the Hamilton County Auditor to certify the total current tax valuation of the Village of Greenhills and the dollar amount of revenue generated by 3 9/10 mills, 3.9 mills, for purposes of evaluating and levying a tax exceeding the 10 mil limitation. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2024-R32-F, resolution requesting the Hamilton County Auditor to certify the total current tax valuation of the Village of Greenhills and the dollar amount of revenue generated by 3 9/10 mills, 3.9 mills, for the purposes of evaluating and levying a tax exceeding the 10 mil limitation. Whereas the Village Council has preliminarily determined that the amount of taxes which may be necessary raised within the 10 mil limitation will be insufficient to fund the necessary services provided by the Village of Greenhills, Hamilton County, Ohio. And whereas the primary purpose and intent of such funding is for providing an additional and continuous police protection and services for the Village of Greenhills as authorized by 5705.19J of the Ohio Revised Code. And whereas the Ohio Revised Code 5705.03 requires the Village Council to obtain certain information from the county auditor prior to proceeding with the submission of an additional tax levy to the electors of the village. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, Hamilton County, Ohio, Section 1, that the village has preliminarily determined that it is necessary to levy an additional continuous tax in excess of the 10 mil limitation to provide police protection and services for the Village of Greenhills pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 5705.19J. Section 2, that this additional levy shall be submitted to the electors of the entire territory of the Village of Greenhills, Hamilton County, at the May primary election to be held at the usual places within the Village of Greenhills on the 6th day of May 2025. Section 3, that the additional tax or the additional levy shall be placed upon the tax list for the 2025 for collection in 2026 if the majority of the electors voting therein vote in favor thereof, and that the tax will be levied upon the entire territory of the Village of Greenhills. Section 4, that the Village Council hereby requests information from the county auditor related to the current total tax valuation of the village and the dollar amount of revenue that would be generated by a levy of tax at a rate not exceeding 3.9 mils for each $1 valuation for a continuing period of time. Section 5, that the clerk of the village council is hereby directed to immediately certify to the county auditor this resolution and to obtain from the county auditor the information requested hereunder to present the levy on May 6th ballot. Section 6, that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its adoption. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any comments, questions? All right. Clerk, poll the council.
Warner,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Walther,
Aye.
Hudson,
Aye.
Halter,
Aye.
Hermes, aye.
All right, resolution number 2024-32-F passes. Next resolution, 2024 R33-S&S, authorizing the municipal manager to execute an agreement with Dyne Energy as the electric supplier for the village aggregation program in Greenhills. Hermes.
Resolution 2024 R33 S&S, resolution authorizing the municipal manager to execute an agreement with Dynegy as the electric supplier aggregation for the Greenhills program. Whereas Dynegy was the best bid in a recent solicitation of bids prepared and implemented for the village by independent energy consultants. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the Village of Greenhills, County of Hamilton, State of Ohio, Section 1, the municipal manager of Greenhills is hereby authorized to enter into an electric supply contract with Dynegy for the period of 14 months, beginning in March 2025, with a fixed rate to be set at approximately 8.1 cents per kilowatt hour. That Section 2, that it is found and determined that all former actions of this council concerning and relating to the adoption of this resolution were adopted in an open meeting of this council, and that all deliberations of this council and any of its committees that resulted in such formal action were in meetings open to the public in compliance with all legal requirements, including Section 121.22 of the Ohio Revised Code. Section 3, this resolution shall be in force and effective immediately upon its passage and approval by the village. I move for the adoption of this resolution.
I second it.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions?
Actually, Mr. Mayor, I think this has actually saved residents of the village money over the long
Right.
term.
I think it's in excess of $1 million
And so-
since this has been in place. About
So-
$1 million to the people who take part in the program. Not everyone, not a million individuals. Be nice. All right, clerk, poll the council.
Walther,
Aye.
Hudson,
Aye.
Halter,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Warner,
Aye.
Hermes, aye.
Okay, resolution 2024-33-S&S passes. Next resolution, number 2024-R34-F, requesting the Hamilton County Auditor certify the total current tax valuation of the Village of Greenhills and the dollar amount of revenue generated by replacement of the Village of Greenhills' existing 4.9 mil police levy. Mr. Lee.
Okay, and this is the follow-up to the other previous resolution. Resolution 2024 R34-F, resolution requesting the Hamilton County Auditor to certify the total current tax valuation for the Village of Greenhills and the dollar amount of revenue generated by the replacement of the Village of Greenhills' existing 4.9 mil police levy. Whereas the village has preliminarily determined that the amount of taxes which may be raised within the 10 mil limitations to be insufficient to provide adequate amount necessary to fund the police services for the Village of Greenhills, Hamilton County, Ohio, and whereas the village currently levies a tax of 4.9 mils approved by the electors of the Village of Greenhills at the election of November 2nd, 2010, to fund police protection and services, and whereas the village council has determined that in order to continue to provide adequate police protection for the village, that it is necessary to replace the existing 4.9 mil levy with a replacement levy of 4.9 mils in order to recognize current property valuations of the village. Whereas Ohio Revised Code 5705.03 requires the village council to obtain certain information from the county auditor prior to proceeding with the submission of replacement tax levy to the electors of the village. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the council of the Village of Greenhills, Hamilton County, Ohio, that Section 1, the council of the Village of Greenhills has preliminarily determined that it is necessary to replace the existing 4.9 mil police levy at a rate not to exceed 4.9 mils for each $1 of taxable value for the purpose of providing and maintaining motor vehicles, communications, and other equipment, buildings, and sites for such buildings used directly in the operation of a police department for the payment of salaries of permanent and part-time police, communications, and or administration personnel to operate the same, including the payment of any employer contributions required for such personnel under Section 145.48 or 742.33 of the Ohio Revised Code for the payment of other related costs pursuant to the Section 5705.19J of the Ohio Revised Code, which amounts to 49 cents for each $100 of the county auditor's appraised value for the continuing period of time. Section 2, that the replacement levy shall be submitted to the electors of the entire territory of the Village of Greenhills, Hamilton County, at the May primary election to be held at the usual places within said Village of Greenhills on the 6th day of May 2025. Section 3, that said replacement levy shall be placed upon the tax list for 2025 for collection in 2026 if the majority of electors voting therein vote in favor of thereof, and that the tax be levied upon the entire village of the Village of Greenhills. Entire territory of the Village of Greenhills. Section 4, that the village council hereby request information from the county auditor related to the current total tax valuation of the village and the dollar amount of revenue that would be generated by a replacement levy of tax at a rate not exceeding 4.9 mils for each $1 valuation for a continuing period of time. Section 5, that the clerk of the village council is hereby directed to immediately certify to the county auditor this resolution requesting that the county auditor certified to the Village of Greenhills the total tax valuation of the village and the dollar amount or revenue that would be generated by the aforesaid replacement 4.9 mils to the present levy on May 6, 2025 ballot. Section 6, that this resolution shall be effective immediately upon its adoption. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
Okay, been moved and seconded. Any comments or questions? Okay, hearing none, clerk poll the council.
Hudson,
Aye.
Coulter,
Aye.
Lee,
Aye.
Walther,
Aye.
Warner,
Aye.
Hermes. Aye.
Okay, resolution number 2024-R34-F passes. Next resolution number 2024-R35-F, declaring certain village property as surplus property and authorizing the municipal manager to properly dispose of said property. Mr. Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Resolution 2024-R35-F, declaring certain village property as surplus property and authorizing the municipal manager to properly dispose of said property. Whereas council has determined that there is certain village property that is not needed or is unfit for public use as set out in Ohio Revised Code Section 721.15. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the Village, Greenhills, Ohio, members elected here thereto concurring. Section 1, that the village property listed below is declared to be surplus, no longer needed for municipal purposes or unfit for public use. It's a 2014 Chevrolet Caprice. Section 2, that the municipal manager is hereby authorized to sell said property in the estimated value of which is more than $1,000. Section 3, that the municipal manager is further authorized to utilize any internet auction services available in order to dispose of said property. Section 4, that the municipal manager is further authorized to use any other method deemed appropriate and necessary by the municipal manager in order to dispose of said property in order to obtain the most value for said property. Section 5, that this resolution shall take effect and be enforced from and after the earliest period allowed by law. Mr. Mayor, I move for the adoption of this resolution.
Second.
They've been moved and seconded. Any comments, questions? All right, clerk poll the council.
Lee,
Aye.
Warner,
Aye.
Coulter,
Aye.
Hudson,
Aye.
Walther,
Aye.
Hermes. Aye.
Okay, resolution number 2024-R35-S passes. Next item, do we have any comments from any of the council members? All right, the municipal calendar.
There's Light Up Greenhills, December 6th.
Finance meeting on the 4th?
The fourth.
Yes.
And so do I have some volunteers to go out and judge the Christmas lights, the Mayor's Awards?
Oh, I'll go.
I thought it was a community development thing.
Okay. What's a good date for you guys? Some evening?
Just before Christmas, you mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe a Tuesday that we don't have council? Yeah.
Okay.
So Tuesday evening
Okay.
that we don't have council.
The 17th.
So,
Try the 17th? Is that a Tuesday?
yeah, yep,
Yes.
All right. We'll meet up here at 6 o'clock.
okay.
All right. Then good enough. Okay.
Are you
So
providing
everybody
hot
get your
chocolate?
lights on.
Are you providing hot chocolate and food?
Oh,
'Cause we need snacks. Last time it was long.
yeah, I'll look into that.
Thank you.
Okay. All right, moving on. Do we have anything else for that? Okay. All right, this is the opportunity or the time for citizens to comment on matters before council. When recognized, please come forward to the podium. Complete the sign-in sheet. Do we have a blank sheet of paper we can run out there or something?
He's got it. Yeah, what is that? Nothing.
No, that's
Oh, we
for
could-
the fire department.
That's yards.
Yard signs.
Oh,
Okay.
well, yard signs, but they're done with yard signs, aren't they? We could flip it over.
Well, that's left over from, an earlier time.
I'll put one up.
When recognized, please come forward to the podium, complete the sign-in sheet, verbally indicate if you're a resident of Greenhills or non-resident, then state your comments. If you have questions, the questions will be recorded and referred to the manager's office for response. This will allow time for thoughtful and thorough consideration to be given to each question. Council meetings are recorded for ease of transcription. Comments are limited to 4 minutes. Speakers may not yield any or all of their time to other speakers. Somebody keep ties.
I got it.
You got it? Okay.
Yep.
Well,
And I've got an extra for Teresa.
We should mention that our December meeting is on the warrant.
Sure.
Yes. Thank you.
Monique Mason-Halter, Greenhills resident. Over the past several months, I have spoken at meetings about dozens of federal bills that eliminate municipal authority over the deployment of cell towers and other wireless infrastructure, including broadband satellites. Tonight, I'm going to read excerpts from 2 online action alerts about these satellites. I've provided you with printouts that include web links where you may learn more and perhaps participate in these alerts. I've attached another handout about legislation on satellites also. And you may use these resources to write our federal lawmakers with concerns as well. From the USPIRG Education Fund, tell the FCC satellite mega constellations need environmental review. The number of large satellites in the low level of low Earth orbit has increased by 127 times, and the overall number of large LEO satellites has increased 12 times in 5 years, led by SpaceX. At peak deployment of these disposable satellites, 29 tons of metal will re-enter our atmosphere per day. That's almost like a car entering our skies every hour. We're in a short window of time when we can prevent making a mess of space and our atmosphere rather than spend decades cleaning it up. The Federal Communications Commission, FCC, should coordinate closely with regulators to require extensive environmental reviews for the new space age. The agency should, 1, pause new satellite internet low Earth orbit satellite launches until the FCC conducts environmental reviews for mega constellations. 2, FCC should end the environmental categorical exclusion of satellites. The new space race doesn't need to create massive space waste. Also regarding satellites, I included an action alert for the appeal by astronomers safeguarding the astronomical sky. It's been signed by about 2,100 astronomers. Astronomers are extremely concerned by the possibility that Earth may be blanketed by tens of thousands of satellites, which will greatly outnumber the approximately 9,000 stars that are visible to the unaided human eye. This is not some distant threat, it's already happening. These new satellites are small, mass-produced, and orbit very close to the Earth with the intent to provide speedy internet connection and infrastructure for war. But that closeness also makes them more visible and brighter in the night sky, especially when lighted by the sun. And there's obviously more there. But lastly, I'd like to thank council members again for writing a letter to the FCC and asking that the agency comply with the 2021 court order to specifically address scientific evidence related to the health and environmental impacts of RF wireless radiation, including 5G. I'm glad that you also expressed your desire to keep home rule regarding cell tower installation. I also appreciate that in 2022, the majority of council members voted to pass a protective small cells towers ordinance to regulate deployment in the village. I'm asking again that this ordinance be strengthened to prevent unnecessary installation. Thanks.
Well, now. He was on the roll.
Good evening again. My name is Pat Andron. I live at 32 Chalmers Lane. I am the district chair for the Democratic Party here in Greenhills, elected by the people of Precinct C. We have three precincts here in Greenhills, A, B, and C. A incorporates the streets of the F and G streets, Hadley, Hamlin, Hayden, Ingram, and B would be all the remaining east side streets. The west side of Winton is considered Precinct C, which is where I live. I'd like to comment on the 2024 general election unofficial results for Hamilton County first off. The turnout for the county was 67.1%, which was a good turnout. They had 405,825 ballots cast, with registered voters of 604,119. The Democratic Party did fantastic in terms of wins. We have 3 Supreme Court judges elected, a representative to Congress, 5 Ohio State representatives, 4 First District Court of Appeals judges, 2 county commissioners, Driehaus and Reese, the auditor, the prosecutor, which was really a coup because Connie Pillage won for the first time in Democratic history for 92 years. She's our new prosecutor. The clerk of courts, again, is Common Pleas as Democrat, Sheriff Guffey, County Recorder Crawley, Treasurer Schilling, the coroner, the Common Pleas Judge Talent. The gerrymander did win Hamilton County, but it lost in Ohio. Issue 34 and 35, which were Family Services and Development Disabilities, did pass. So all of those that I've mentioned were supported by the Democratic Party, and we're proud of those results. Now, if you look at the overall percentage for Hamilton County was 67.1%. That was actually higher than Columbus or Cleveland, so we can be proud of that. And out of that 67.1%, 56.75% voted for Harrison Walls. So we are a blue county now. Giving a report on the Village of Green Hills outcome, we had Democratic wins overall in Precinct A and Precinct C. Again, Harrison Walls carried all 3 of our precincts, despite the fact that some of our public officials carry Trump signs in their yard, which is very disappointing. Should be disappointing to know that you're out of sync with not only your community, but with the county as a whole. Now, in terms of turnout in our town here in the village, in Precinct A, we had a 66.22% turnout. In Precinct B, we had a 75.74% turnout, which was remarkable. Precinct C, we were 70.63. Now you compare that with the county turnout of 67, I would say we did a darn good job of getting the voters out this year, and that's what I was hired for. That's what I was voted in for, was to stimulate the votes. So now what we're looking for is volunteers to serve our community in precincts A and B with the Democratic Party. For years, it seems as though Kenny Burke has been the flag bearer for the
That's
Republicans,
4 minutes, sorry.
violating his
Okay.
rights. And we're going to turn
Thanks.
that around. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we have an executive session. Somebody want to read the motion?
I
Are
thought,
there any other residents or no?
Oh, that's right. Anybody else?
Is the clock not working?
Well, since she's
Teresa's
not
not
here.
The clerk's not here.
Oh, she works.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention that the December meeting will be the second Tuesday of the month, and we will not have a meeting on Christmas Eve.
Okay, all right. Somebody want to go into executive session?
I move to go into executive session to consider appointment and compensation of a public official.
And there'll be no action taken after this?
There will be no action taken after.
Okay. Clerk poll the council.
I need a second.
Seconded. Seconded.
Oh, second.
Second, no, second.
Halter? Lee?
Here.
Aye.
Aye.
Hudson?
Aye.
Boiner?
Aye.
Walther?
Aye.
Hermes? Aye.